We're working on a bomb. Big ol' thing. Thing will be big enough to level the entire side of the mountain. We have the magical means to keep it invisible until it's ready to go off.
So we just have to burn it to the door.
He nods.
Bonus. If we can burn it to the opposite side of the door.
I'm pretty sure I could get in without using the door.
And if the disjunction works far enough, I may be able to walk straight through the door with extra magic.
That's possible. Well, after that, once we get through the outer defenses, our goal, he points right to the middle of the, right into the middle of the map. Our goal is there. That is where all of our informants are saying is where Nyarlathotep is holed up. It's a tower. Our goal is to ultimately take that tower.
And with it,
One more time, Lily?
I said and with it, as in, like, what does the tower do for us?
If we can take the tower, the cultists will hopefully be in disarray. It is the centermost it's the biggest building in the city, and on top of that, it's the focus of the more religious members in Rain, shall we say. We take the tower, we destroy the tower. Sends the cultists into disarray. Hopefully, quick cleanup, we take Rain. Of course, biggest problem with that is the Pharaoh himself. Fighting him ain't gonna be easy. But
we did just finish getting told that it's now or never. So we're already prepared to do that.
I see.
Yes, ideally we drop the tower, then fight him. If we do it in reverse, we'll be having a much harder time. His faith will wane when that tower falls.
Yeah. So, that's the principal idea of this plan. It's as far as we've gotten. Still only just a theory as of now.
Well, you want me... If we have a caster who can cast Disjunction, do you think we could find another spell capable of devastating that tower?
What do you have in mind?
Flag used to cast that meteor spell?
Meteor
I think
Swarm.
it's called.
He nods. It's another one of the spells that we found in the vaults. Rage has taken pretty much everything from the brought it here for everyone to use. So, yeah. Mage's Disjunction, Meteor Swarm on the tower. Seems to be a pretty good bet.
How many times do you think we can cast these?
Once per scroll.
Well, also assuming that we get a mage that can actually use them without the use. A couple times, actually.
What about Oleander? She seems to be quite proficient in magic, especially with her new body backing her.
Too bad it's not a witch spell.
Yeah. We tried. Let's just say, Oleander's new body already has a few scratches on it.
That's not good.
She's fine. But unfortunately, she ain't gonna be the one to be casting that spell.
So,
So, I forget, did Lily get a scroll or not yet?
What's up?
Did he hand Lily a scroll or not yet?
Not yet.
Okay. So, do you think I could look over it?
He motions to Rage. She looks. She reaches. She goes back into a room, brings out the scroll, just lifts it up, and it's big, like football-sized scroll. She just sets down on the table.
It's for the Super Bowl today.
Lily starts looking over.
Yeah, this spell, Mage's Disjunction. It's far advanced than anything you've ever seen before.
Okay.
36. Look up scrolls
Yeah.
around.
I think that's enough to identify it and understand it. Which is the first step in being able to cast from a scroll.
Yeah. Let's see, decipher the writing. DC 20 plus the spell level. Yep. That's definitely more than enough to decipher the spell. Suddenly a car appears.
It's the moon deer.
Yes, it's the Mindy Machine.
What's up, man?
Oh, dang, we could use them. Maybe they can withstand the cold.
Maybe they have Shaggy with them.
They're here to.
Maybe they have Jackie with them.
Hey man,
1v
I heard you needed to defeat a god of chaos.
1v1 me, Nyarla.
It's like Nyarlathotep leaves, phone him.
He just dips.
He's just
To
right.
make us say,
all of-
hands, man.
I'll use no hands, man. No feet either. I'll just use my eyes. Haha.
you made me use 5% of my power, man.
And you just see only his eyes. Suddenly you just see a rocket ship going into space. just blasting from the rocket. All you just hear, "Fuck this shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out."
Anyway.
So yeah, you do manage to decipher the writing, and you understand. I'm not gonna say like you know it, but you understand
Yes.
Mage's disjunction.
I think if push came to shove, I could be able to cast it, but it would be hard.
As a backup, what about just simple weather control spells? I say simple. What about normal weather control spells?
We've asked Velvet about that since the rains are home. It would only work for a short amount of time. Get only a couple people in. It wouldn't be viable for an entire army.
So, what's the range on this junction spell? Are we talking a few miles? Are we talking 300 feet?
To cast or to...
Where does it affect?
It affects anything magical. As explain it to her, Lily.
It can be used to create a large area where everything magical stops functioning.
How big is this area?
If I'm looking at this, I think it's around 40 feet. So that should be enough to march people through, but we would have a choke point.
Oh, so it's centered. Damn.
It'll also only last for a couple of minutes. So we will need to get everyone through as quickly as possible before it shuts.
Well, actually, if it's a spell, it can be dispelled permanently in that area. That's for magic items in the area.
So how many aerial support people do we have?
Well, we have an entire army of Longma coming.
Well, if we've got nothing left to lose, if we're gonna die anyways, what if we get a hoofful of them? No, not a hoofful, maybe. A lot. We all give them bombs. And we get them to drop them over the city. Repeatedly.
First off, that blizzard's fucking huge. Second off, suppose we go in from the sky. Right?
Humor me.
Rain is dead center in the eye of the hurricane. The only place within the entire tundra that has relatively clear skies. They will see us coming, and we will be sitting ducks before we even have a safe place to land our soldiers.
Well, they'll see them coming. Why won't they see us coming?
Because of the blizzard.
Well, if rain is in the eye, and they'll see anyone coming, we'll eventually exit the blizzard. Will we not?
But I have a suggestion, actually. So, the disjunction only affects a small area, correct?
It does.
And it requires a very heavy caster. How many casters are at around my level that we have access to?
A few, actually. Not counting Oleander, there's... Samson can't cast it. There's... that human he has working with him. Eleandra, I think her name is. She's actually a higher caster level than you. Huh? Wait a minute.
Well, I'm proposing anti-magic fields. They work about as well as a disjunction, as far as I know, and they're centered around their caster. So, they could bring about a squad of people with them through that blizzard.
Say it one more time, Lily.
I'm suggesting anti-magic fields. They're about as effective as this disjunction against magical effects, and they're centered around their caster. So they could bring about a squad of people with them through the blizzard without too much harm.
That sounds viable. We'll have to put this all together within the coming days. For now, Lily, you hang on to that scroll. If worse comes to worse, you're gonna have to be the one to use it. And hopefully... I'll work on seeing if Samson can't make any anti-magic fields. At least some devices that'll create one. Tianhua will be here with an army of the Longbow within a few days. So we have until then to figure everything out. As for the Creator's soul, Lily,
Yes.
could you hand that to me for the time being?
Hand it to you?
Yes.
What for?
I... I would just like to hang on to it.
Well, I was thinking about perhaps making something to see if she's still lucid in there, but sure. She hands it over. I could work on it without her for now and see if it works.
When you have constructed such a device, I will return it to you.
So, how many people are we expecting to be able to take? If we only have a 40-foot radius to hold them all in.
Ideally, you will have enough to get eight people through at once. So our goal is to have people go through and rotate.
What's the point of an army if you can't even bring it with you?
Ideally speaking, we identify what keeps the blizzard up and destroy it.
That's... Hey Ryan,
Yes?
Oh yeah, Brox, you're...
could you go on and push the talk?
Click your clackities.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Anyways. What was the last thing someone said? I don't remember.
Oh, Lily said that ideally we destroy whatever's keeping the blizzard working.
As far as we know, it's just a magically enhanced blizzard.
Yeah, it is just wishful thinking, but pour as many men through that choke points through the storm as we can.
He nods.
Which is a few hundred at most over the course of however long your spell lasts for.
Depending on the nature of the storm, it should last for a long time.
Still, how far is the walk?
From the blizzard to rain is about a half hour's travel.
Oh, that's just excellent, isn't it?
You mean the inner edge or the outer edge? Because if we can amass people half an hour away from rain before going in,
The outer edge.
so yeah, sounds like we could do that.
We get people through the blizzard, and we get them set up. And once we're all ready, we push to rain. It seemed like a good idea.
That seems like it's giving them a lot of time to prepare for us.
They're already going to be ready for us, either way.
And a lot of time of us sitting still doing nothing.
Do you have any better ideas?
Hmm.
We're all ears.
How many disjunction spells do we have? Scrolls do we have?
2.
2. That's not a great amount, but it's workable.
It's enough to get us through.
So,
She nods.
total distance-wise, how big is the travel from the outside of the storm to rain? Oh, pardon. Anyways, how big is the distance from the outside of the storm to the city in miles, please?
Well, it's not exactly much of a mile. The blizzard is it's small enough at least 2 just disjunctions will be able to penetrate through the entire, at least the worst parts of it.
How big of a fire spell do you think we can make?
How big of a fire spell can you make?
And Kamdun, you've seen that spell twice that I tell you to close your eyes? About
I
that
think-
big.
You've seen the spell when I told you to close your eyes.
You've heard
I haven't seen it at all.
We'll join.
Well, you've seen the after effect. You get my point.
I get it. What is your point? Is that the biggest you can do?
Yes. 120 feet of fire. Or 60? A lot.
Can't boost that at all?
There are ways.
How many casters do we got that can cast that big wall of fire?
Probably a few.
Estimate for me.
And there's probably a few I could teach, even if they didn't know.
Let's ballpark it around at her level. 5. Higher level, about maybe 2 or 3.
You can go a spell level 1 or 2 below me and still cast that spell.
And level 2 below you.
Yes, it's a little more advanced than a fireball.
And in that case, maybe about 6 others below you. I could safely cast that spell. So altogether, about 15 casters.
I'll keep it in mind. So what are the downsides to not clearing this storm?
Well, have you ever doused yourself in water and walked outside in the freezing cold?
Well, I lived in the desert for 20 years, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah. Even with indoor elements, even with cold resistance, even with everything we could possibly do, it would be difficult. Let's leave it at that.
Oh no, let's not leave it at that. I want to know specifics.
It's not practical for our army.
Let me put it this way. Even if you decked yourself out in everything you need to combat the cold, that blizzard will still drop you dead. Is that clear enough for you?
Yes, thank you.
He just he decides. You can see why blizzard is our biggest obstacle.
Yes.
But once we get through it, the worst part will be over. And then we can get onto the hard part. What we've been thinking is giving a few mages, giving a few people some scrolls of invisibility, and torching the outside guard towers. Cause a bit of chaos while we sneak that bomb in.
That could help with that. Been meaning to use my new cannon.
Someone gave you a pretty new cannon for Christmas.
No, that was an actual question. Yes. Yes, I did.
Once we torch the guard towers, hopefully the inner guard towers will panic. We'll distract them with some magic, fling a few fireballs, some lightning bolts in their direction. Maybe I'll throw my hammer at them. The goal is to distract the inside guard towers long enough for us to get that bomb in place and light that whole front side up. Now, when we do that, that might be a good time, if we're able to use it, to use the meteor swarm and hit it right on that tower. They'll all be in complete disarray. They won't even see it coming. And it's just going to be just hit after hit after hit after hit after hit, sending them spiraling into, well, chaos. The kind of chaos they don't fucking like. We beat the Pharaoh, cleaning up the cultists. We take Rain and we rebuild whatever remains. And I think we'll finally be able to start taking our world back one step at a time.
Mm-hmm. But like we said, it's all or nothing. We need to push the Pharaoh back directly. Or the observers become an enemy.
I see. Well, we're definitely going to have to work on that. But I guarantee you, we're going to take this bastard down, or we're going to die trying. There ain't no middle ground here. We either win, or we die. And I need all of you to understand that.
I'm aware.
So, if there's anything any of you need to square away before we head out, I suggest you do it. I don't want none of you second guessing yourselves, making mistakes, and getting yourselves killed because you're worried about something back home. We'll resume this tomorrow. For now, you're dismissed.
Understood.
And with that, we're going to bring this session to a close.
Well, I was just about to say I have to leave.
Oh, I was gonna head to the Devourer.
Ryan finds a
Great,
tattoo
then.
person in the big band.
Actually, you know what? Lucas, do you just want to do that now and then we'll end the session?
Sure, let's do it.
Alright.
Lily would like to follow. Is that okay?
Alright, that's fine.
So,
I'm asking Lucas.
after the meeting, Lucas, dismisses himself, saying that he needs to go somewhere important.
And, can I come?
He nods.
Okay. Well, he follows.
All right.
This is about the,
Yes, Devour. I need to see him. I need to speak with him.
Yes. I believe you do, especially before this moment.
Yeah. Anyone else want to come with me?
Oh, yeah, I think so.
What exactly are you doing?
He has something to tell me. I'm not sure what it is, but I know I need to hear it.
Everyone is quiet in contemplation.
I need to see him now before I lose the chance to do it again.
Yes.
So, anyone else?
I'll come along too.
He gives Bao a hug.
She returns it. What was that for?
I don't know. I expected you guys to not be trustworthy of this, or trusting of this.
We may not trust
Well,
it, but we trust you.
that's all the more reason to go.
Alright. Well, no time to waste. Let's go.
All right. So you all begin making your way to the mountains. You head up to the mountains where you remember on the other side, a settlement on the moon, a settlement of Moondare are. However, that is not your destination.
Are you sure?
Yes.
It'll be our second destination.
Maybe one day again.
Sidetrack and you'd spend 3 sessions there.
Your destination, however, is the massive tomb on the top of the mountain.
Oh.
You find yourselves in front of a pair of massive metal doors. Ancient descriptions of dragons.
Sorry, I cut out a bit.
Ancient descriptions of dragons.
I'm cutting out.
We're at massive doors.
Massive doors.
Massive doors.
Massive doors.
Big doors.
Massive doors.
Big door.
Big door.
Big door.
They're massive.
That's a big door. I think he died.
All I heard was that something was massive.
Okay, at least we got that. At least we got that across.
Alright. So, something massive. It is rectangular.
Yeah.
It is door shaped.
And is it on a massive mountain?
It is on a massive mountain.
Okay.
So how much did you actually hear?
I didn't hear much in the past minute.
Okay, so let me do it over again.
Yeah.
So you leave Lily's and you begin heading up the mountains.
Yeah.
You find yourself in front of a pair of large metal doors.
I see.
The inscriptions, ancient descriptions of dragons adorn this wall, filled with text that is both ancient and yet understandable.
Hmm.
You almost recognize this language as the Scorpion's own. However, it's different.
I have enough linguistics to probably put together the pieces of what it says.
All right. I will. I'll write it out for you. What it says. Make me a linguistics check. Lucas.
Yeah. I believe I can put on the glasses for a +5.
Lucas puts on his big Coke bottle glasses.
How many lenses do they have?
Enough.
All right. Yeah. So you recognize this as this is the original Predator language. You know enough of your own language and other languages.
Yeah, I know all the evil languages at this point.
That you can perfectly decipher what it says.
Still need to figure out what I need to learn next.
It's the original Predator language.
Oh.
All right, and this is what it says.
He reads it out loud. Inside this tomb lies the soul of the true God. Only those with his blood shall receive his blessing. Chosen by fate, forged in war. Only the ones of the blood of kings shall inherit the world.
And as you finish that, the language glows, and the doors slowly open.
I guess all that book reading paid off.
And you see, as from where you are, the light shining through, you see these walls of ancient descriptions of dragons, the history of the dragons.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
he continues to read it out loud.
Well,
Whatever is necessary to read out loud.
well, there's no language in this. It's just more, like artistic, like drawings.
It's calligraphy?
Yeah,
No.
That's
Not
still
calligraphy.
words.
literally like hieroglyphs.
Yeah, it's like pictures.
You see. So here's a question: Do you go forward?
I do go forward.
All right. What about everyone else?
Lily follows closely.
All right. So Lucas,
Yes?
you step into the tomb, and when everyone else tries to follow, you see this. You just hear a thump, as this kind of force of energy blocks everyone else.
Anti-magic field. Oh.
I guess I'll be on my own.
But Lucas.
Promise I'll be okay.
We'll all be right here.
Yeah.
All of us.
He gives all. He runs out for a moment. He gives them all a hug and then runs back in.
All right.
Fine. Be safe.
I don't think there was much to this being Faust's tomb.
And alright, he leaves them, goes further down.
As you continue on, see the history of the dragons. Starting out from amphibians in the sea, conquering the sea and taking the land, going from small creatures that simply walked the earth and ate bugs and grass. Slowly, as you walk, you see their evolution. Going from small creatures to bigger and more powerful lizards, growing wings, fangs, claws.
I take up the crossword book and start sketching. Just for a friend or two.
Eventually, you see descriptions of powerful-looking dragons soaring through fields, dominating the world.
Lucas continues further.
And you hear a voice. There was a time the world belonged to our kind.
Lucas quickly shuts the book, puts away his pen and glasses.
There was a time when Phonum belonged to the dragons. We were ancient beyond concept, powerful beyond words. We were the rulers of the world, and our world was glorious. You continue on. It continues to describe wars between the dragons. Eventually, you see an inscription of an entire army of dragons standing before what seems to be a drawing of a small human woman.
Is that Faust?
The voice speaks. And then it came a day when a god descended to our world. A creator called herself Faust. She spoke of a world she once created. But those and once she had created that world, She went on and found our world and saw her own vision for what our world should have been. We saw it quaint. To have smaller, insignificant creatures scurrying about the land. In our pride, in our strength, we failed to see our hubris. It continues on. You see descriptions of Faust creating the first type of ungulate, which just seems to be horses, just straight horses.
But Lucas shrugs and just takes his book and pen back out. Continues the sketch.
She created a race similar to her first world. And they became as strong as us. For we had power. They had something that no dragon truly had. A bond. It continues on. You see descriptions of honored mother and honored father, and above them, an ancient description of the Longma. And so came a day when a warrior from the beasts and a reject of the dragons came together and created a new species of our world. They called them the Longma. And our hubris once again blinded us to the fact the world was changing, yet we were too prideful to see it happen before our eyes. You see the next inscription, and you see an army of ungulate, an army of Longma going against an army of dragons. Many of our kind saw the potential in the race. And one by one, more long born, until they were in mass enough. Hey, Lucas,
Yeah, I'm here.
can you just quickly put the push talk because you're making a lot of noise?
Yeah, I'll be fine now. I'm in a quiet room.
Okay. He continues. And there came a time when the Longma equaled even the dragons in size. The civil war between the Longma and the dragons were violent, were bloody, and all sides knew one would be extinct. But the Longma carried those bonds that they retained from the beasts. And the first of their kind united them all into a single force, where we dragons were too prideful and too egotistical to rely on the strength of another. With their unity, the dragons fell. But in our fall came rage. The refusal to let these insignificant creatures take our world. Rage turned into grudge. Grudge turned into power. And from my remains, the remains of the god of the dragons, came the first predator. I dug my claws into the land, and from the ground came my children. Predators that would engulf this land and finally reclaim this world to the dragons. But then another came. Another alien came. Far more cruel and far more terrible than anything we had ever faced. With but a wave of his hand, he turned a lustrous garden into a desert, slaughtered my kin, banished us into a prison. He put my body here, where my body has withered and decayed, but my soul still burns brighter than any star. You finally make your way to the end of this cave, and you see just this blackened skeleton of a dragon, completely frozen in time. And in front of it, there is a small, glowing orb.
Lucas approaches the. Actually, Lucas uses emotion, his aura sight ability, to sense its emotions.
Make a will save.
Do I include the -4 from using the empath feat? I believe.
Nah, you're good.
Actually, I think it would apply in this case because of the. I'll apply it based off what I know from the ability.
All right.
Since using empath makes you more vulnerable to this. Oh, that's a minus. That's a -7, not a
Yeah,
+7.
I'm about to say.
That is
I'm
like
about to.
5.
That's I don't think that's correct.
That's a 25.
25. All right. Um, you try and discern this thing's emotion, and you are overwhelmed with the sheer amount of rage coming from it. Some almost overwhelms you and almost causes you to fly into a rage. Do you just manage to hang on? You who have entered my tomb. You are the one worthy of claiming what remains of my power. The power of the true God of this world. Reclaim this power to slay the alien, to slay your enemies, and finally reclaim this world for the dragons!
Excuse me? You just gave this whole spiel about your hubris and your hubris failing you, and you asked me to do the same thing you've done before? I'm not going to.
World.
I'm going to make a better world for the sake of the dragons.
What you choose to do with this power is your own. But know that if you choose to inherit this power, you will inherit our will, the will of the dragons, and to see justice done. See that the alien falls, and see the world be made right.
Here goes nothing.
All right.
He reaches over and takes the orb.
All right, you take the orb into your claws. Suddenly it just shatters. Well, not so much shatters, you grab it and then all of a sudden it's like suddenly becomes more like a puff of smoke at ground. The smoke kind of engulfs you and you see your surroundings disappear. As you see the eyes of a dragon appear before you. And then more and more and more until you see an entire sea of ancient dragons staring you down. Young one, for one so small we see your heart, your blood, your soul burns with the ferocity of our kind. We we give unto you our hopes, our dreams, our will. Always remember, your heart beats one with the dragons. And you see them all kind of become smoky as they surround you and begin to kind of flood into you. And your body slowly begins to take this, not shape, well, some kind of like, how the best way to describe it? A quote unquote tattoo begins to wrap around your body, and at the end of one of your claws, you can see the roaring maw of a dragon, as this dragon-like tattoo is snapped around your body, glowing with a faint purple light. When the time comes, you will know when to call upon this power. And with our power, with for the first and last time, the unified might of the dragons, you will slay that monster. Everything suddenly begins to come back into focus. The smoke is gone, the orb is gone, and when you look up at the remains of the draconic skeleton, you finally see it begin to crack and crumble into pieces.
Lucas watches, just taking in everything that's just happened as the skeleton falls apart. Mm.
Nothing else happens.
With that, he attempts to, he pulls out the crossword book again, tries to sketch the dragon's skeleton from the best he can from memory.
Mm-hmm.
Fill in any gaps he had as he goes out.
All right. So, Lilybound, Wyoming. On your end, you've only just heard nothing but silence. And after an entire hour passes and no word from Lucas. And finally, after an hour, you see him walking out with this glowing dragon-like tattoo now enveloping his body.
Can Lily walk in at all? Because she's gonna try to run up to attack him.
You try to walk in, and the barrier that held you back is now gone.
Lucas.
He gives Lily a hug.
I'd say you found what you were looking for.
Yes, I have.
Are you okay?
I'm fine. I'm not injured. I wrote down everything I saw. I sketched it all. He shows him the notebook. Or not the notebook. It's a crossword book. Well, same thing, whatever. And flips it to the pages of all the sketches and murals and everything he's seen, including the skeleton of the Devourer.
No. Oh.
He offered me an orb of all containing the power of all the power and will of the dragons. I took it. I took the orb, gave me this tattoo, and he crumbled to dust.
And what did he want?
He wanted to make a new a new world for the dragons.
I think we can oblige.
I think so too. All he talked about was how the dragons were fallen by the Longma because they had a unity that the dragons did not possess. He just like looks to all of them. So I think we can figure something out. I think we're pretty solid, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Does Wyoming have anything to say about the murals or anything that Lucas has said? Because he does show the book to Wyoming as well.
Yeah. The well, yeah, he'll kind of flip through it.
Got history though.
This is all really fascinating. Thank you for writing it down when I couldn't.
Hey, I know.
Appreciate it too.
I know you're the history nut.
Yeah. Well, you got me there. And well, I do also have interest in all this stuff about the dragons, specifically.
I don't know what he gave me, but he said to use it when the time is right. I don't even know what it is either, but I assume it
I
has
have an idea.
other than, you know, the power of the dragons, but that's rather vague.
I have more of an idea.
What do you think?
I saw... You remember the dream I told you about a few days ago?
The one where everyone was dead? Oh, wait, that's not specific enough.
Look, you transformed into some sort of shadow dragon to fight back.
Yeah. You think that's what it's about?
I do believe that's what you are.
That would make a lot of sense. Probably smart to trust in prophetic dreams.
Well, I don't know about that, but it seems to line up.
Either way, we're done here. We have a siege to prepare for.
Yes.
Alright. As you begin walking away, you see the doors begin to close. Just
The doors close on
The entire-
the Devourer's story.
the entire door glows, and then you see from the crack in between the doors, rust begins to spread all across the door, covering the door and the cracks around it, completely sealing the tomb away forever. That's where we end the session properly.
Yay!
My voice hurts.
Yeah, it was a lot of talking.
My head hurts.
Yeah, it was a lot of listening.
Alright, well, I squared away a lot of things I wanted to do in this session.
Yeah, last session was the combat session. This session was the exposition session.
Exposition. We still have what three more actually, three more YouTube vlogs to go through. That's what I have it written down as Nyarla shitty YouTube vlogs.
Once YouTube gets invented, I'm definitely gonna upload these.
Yes, yeah, I didn't want to actually say vlogs.
No, he goes like, "Hey guys,
Hey guys, hey guys, it's your boy Nyarla Hotep. I'll come back at you with another Let's Play of Baldi's Basics."